ZZ109FM, hottest radio station on the planet. It's your boy LORATTI'S. 2026, I tell you, it's not surprising, but it's got a lot of surprises within it. Um, 8 lives gone, opportunity taken away, and we're here today to kind of reach back and absorb it, and to help us out and to help anyone listening. In the studio today is Miss Elsie Jenkins. Miss Jenkins, how you feeling?
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, my heart is sad, my soul is sad. Uh, Senseless things are going on the planet, but I believe it all has a meaning. Nonetheless, Lord have mercy.
Also in the studio to help us out is Reverend No Show. Reverend No Show, haven't seen you in a while. How you doing? Alrighty, I'm doing good. I'm feeling fine. My heart is low, but my spirit is high. And also in the studio to help us is 10th grade education, Bob. Bob, how you doing there? Well, I'm doing all right. I understand a lot of bad things going on this planet. That's for sure. All right. So we look at this situation here. Elkins, military member, prior Louisiana Army National Guard member. I see, a bunch of red flags. And you think about these professionals at the VA, they're supposed to be able to pick up on these red flags too. My question is, are they efficient at doing this? So information we have, and it's all kind of information, fresh information, could be updated, but nonetheless, he had stayed at the local VA hospital to get treatment for mental health issues. This is important because if you look at the time frame he went in there, and now, mind you, you have to add the fact that he tried to commit suicide in February of this year. February. Out in April. Red flag for me, because do you really think someone that tried to commit suicide in February is all good in April? And then we're talking about military members. Not sure what his background is on that, but we'll assume that he served, amount of time that allows him to be able to be exposed to X, Y, and Z. We'll assume that. With that being said, putting someone in the VA in February after they try to commit suicide and saying that they have a clean bill of health by April is ludicrous. It's ludicrous. Because you know that a lot of these issues that military members have, they're ongoing. There's not really a fix for being exposed to what military members are exposed to. There's no real fix. If you have your limbs blown off of you from an IED, you can't fix that. If you see a member of the military have this happen to them, you can't fix that memory. If you have to run to their aid and try to keep them from dying, and if you're successful or not successful, you're not going to be able to erase that memory. You can't fix that. And the list goes on when it comes to things that happen to people in the military that change them forever. A lot of these things you can't fix. Not in 2 months, not in 2 years, not in 2 decades. That's the flip side of being a soldier. The VA, do they have a hand in the responsibility of letting this guy go in April like he was a brand new soldier, a clean bill of health kind of soldier, ready to go back and tackle the world? I would say no, hell no. There's no way. And if anyone's ever dealt with the VA, you know you're going to tell them what they want to hear, especially once they got you in their facility. You don't want to be there. It's not like you're in the Hyatt or the Hilton being treated with the utmost luxury. It's nothing close to that. The VA's came a long ways, but it's nothing close to being on a vacation if you're in that facility. So to get out of there, you got to tell them what they want to hear. And this is something these guys at the facility should know. You know, these soldiers come in here with problems. We know they're ongoing problems. And they're going to tell us what they want to hear. But we're going to keep digging deeper to make sure that what they're telling us isn't what we want to hear. We want to make sure that they are ready to be released back into society. In the last 2 years, some soldiers have caused some grief on the planet by killing people, and they were released back into society. So we have to be very careful as we look at the timeline as to, is someone okay to go back in society, especially if they're a soldier? Grandma, what do you think about it?
Well, I'm be honest with you. I think that this situation here is a sad situation, and uh, how can you tell? I have people around me all the time lying. They'll lie straight in your face with a smile on their face, and these people haven't been in the military. So, military members are trained and they are specialized in a lot of things. So, to be able to avoid being caught is one of them. So you have to be able to talk your way out of situations in the military. Some of these people are very good at that. So how do you know if they're telling the truth or not? They're going to have to change the way they admit military members. Once you're admitted for something like a suicide, you should be sent somewhere for at least a year to where you can be kind of reacclimated back into society. It shouldn't be a 2 months and you get a couple pills for anxiety and you're back on the streets. Because who's to say you're taking those pills? And who's to say you are ready to go back on the streets? Grandma, gotta agree with you. Medications, you have to take them to make you better, to keep you better. If you don't take them, then you won't get better. You're going to get worse. The situation, there's so many variables in the situation. Let's take a look at this information here. It's understandable to feel like the timeline, that 2 months, should be clear. You should be able to say, okay, you're ready to go back. But when someone is hurting deeply inside, it shakes everyone around them. But the truth is more complicated. It's important to hold that complexity gently. Someone who attempts suicide in February might be struggling in April, or they might be doing better. Both are possible, but recovery from something that serious isn't tied to a calendar. It depends on whether they got real professional support, whether they're live, whether their environment's changed, whether the underlying pain was addressed, whether they're being honest about how they feel, or whether they have people checking in on them. So when I look at these 4 things, the most important thing here that trumps everything is whether they're being honest about how they feel. And trust me and believe that that's the reason why this man was able to get out of that VA. And that's why that man was able to get close to his family. Because he wasn't being honest about how he felt. If he was to be honest about how he felt, he probably wouldn't have gotten a mile close to those kids. But that's the key right there, being dishonest about how you feel. Now, the intentions of going through and killing 8 kids from 3 to 14, this doesn't seem to fit in this puzzle we're dealing with here. Yeah, you could be on an emotional issue, mindset, but what makes you kill 8 kids? Of your kids. Now, I can see you go out and killing 8 people in the streets. That's what these other
military members have done in the last 2 years. They've killed other people in the streets, but to kill your own kids, to look at your own kids running from you, trying to kill them. How can you vision this in your head and not stop for a moment and say, what the hell am I doing? It's obviously you're no longer in your head. These images are something else. They're not your kids that you're killing. It could be something uh, sinister, where you're at war. You're in a war situation, and all these kids look like the enemy, and you're going at them and after them just as if they were the enemy. So that mindset, which you won't be able to understand unless you're actually that person, or you're someone that suffers from post-traumatic stress, that understands how simple it is to flip from reality to not so much reality. You're in a make-believe type of world that exists right there as you stand with that rifle in your hand. And everything around you is totally enemy, totally foreign. You don't see people that you love. You see something totally opposite based on your mental mindset. That's the only way you could sit there and take the lives of 8 kids and harm people around you that you supposedly love. But the kids, that's the only way I can see someone taking out their own kids, is because you've lost it. Not to a point where you're just crazy, but you're actually seeing something that's not there. You're seeing something that's not there, and it is actually an enemy to you. And his mindset as a soldier is to destroy the enemy. And he completely did that. And his life was taken in the midst of that without knowing, for us not knowing, was there any remorse? He may have still been in that mindset as they were chasing him down for his last moments on the planet. Reverend Nosha, what do you think about this situation? Because this isn't a foreign situation. This has been going on for years in our country, where people are just flipping the script and going in and just taking out people. I'm going to tell you now, these ending times, and this is how I feel about life today. These ending times that we're in, these are just small miniature factors that you have to realize and place in your heart to understand where you are as a person. Because if you see this and you can relate to it, then you have a problem. Most people can't relate to this mindset. But if you can see this mindset and can relate to it, you need help. You need help. You need assistance. Someone has got to help your mindset, because this is unimaginable to go in and just take your own family like this. There's a sinister mindset behind this.
Oh, yes, it's very sinister. And I'm going to tell you now, I recently did a show on um, 6 children in California where the 2 stepmothers, white stepmothers, were abusing them. And these stepmothers got caught the first time. One of them was charged some charges, but they had a mindset they was going to move away, because if they moved away, they could start over fresh. And that's exactly what happened. Now, they didn't end the cycle of abuse, because when they moved to the next location, they continued that cycle of abuse on these children. But these children were older. And at the same token, when they went to tell the neighbors as to what they was doing, these 2 women took it upon themselves to make the decision to take these kids, drug them up with some type of kiddie medications, and drive them off of a cliff into the ocean. This is interesting because these two women hadn't been in the military. They hadn't been in the military, but they still had the evil mindset to take children off of the planet, supposedly being their step parents, adoptive parents. You think most people that have an opportunity to be a parent would accept that with open arms. But in this sense, they had a sinister mindset in the midst of adopting children. Now, these two situations are not even close to being the same because this man is biologically connected to these children, and these women are biologically disconnected. But they both have an evil mindset to look at children and take their lives away like they're nothing. It's sad, but it is a reminder that it doesn't matter whether they're connected or not connected. If you have a sinister mindset, it doesn't matter whose children they are. They could be your children, they could be someone else's children. You're still going to take it upon yourself to follow through with that sinister mindset. And that these two are white women that took these children and did what they did and drove off the cliff. There were indicators in this situation. They got one of them got charged for the abuse charges, but no one did anything about them. They needed mental health treatment. There's a mindset going on when you do this to these children. That mindset hasn't left because you charged them and placed them in custody and put them in front of a judge. That mindset is still there. And unless you address the mindset, they should no longer be able to be around these children. Not until you can clearly be convinced that it is gone. And as far as I'm concerned, I think once you've hurt a child, you won't stop hurting children. Your privilege to be around children is now revoked. I don't care if you're a biological parent or not. There's some things going on within your head that may or may not be helped. In this sense, there has to be different rules for you now that you've made an attempt to hurt these children. ZZ109FM, things have got to change when it comes to mental health in this country. We've got so many people that go to college that sit in your face, that act like they know what's best for you as they walk you through this mental yellow brick road. But in the end result, they don't know any more today about mental health issues than they did in the past. They do not. And you've got the VA, which is supposed to be providing the top tier of health services for our military members, and they're missing the ball on these very, 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 very simple signs. And there's like a no zero tolerance. 2 months and you're free to go. 2 months and you're a brand new person. 2 months and maybe some medication and you're able to deal with this by yourself. It doesn't sound right. Doesn't make sense. A lot of things don't heal in 2 months. It takes a longer time for certain things to heal. You've got to be patient. You have to wait. You have to keep checking that area that's damaged to make sure it's completely healed. Same thing with the mental health. Mental health just doesn't heal in 2 months. It doesn't. So this show, I mean, we've got a tribute song we created, Lord Show Me the Way. And it was just a simple kind of piece put together with ARAM, the producer. I mean, what can the Lord show us? I mean, this is violence that's been going on across the country, all different types of style, but violence nonetheless.
thou shalt not kill violations. And I mean, what could God show us that would help us stop this? That would help us help each other find a way to convince other people around us that this is just not the option. Taking these 8 kids' lives didn't fix anything. It only created more pain for the community of Shreveport and the mothers and the aunties and everyone that's in that family. It just created more pain. You know, I'm gonna be honest. I look at this. I'm like, why don't you just kill yourself? Just kill yourself. Yeah, because you having a problem, you having an issue, you can't cope. Then the pain of you leaving is all that they have to bear. That's it. A lot of people can't handle this opportunity to be on this planet. It's an opportunity. And I think a lot of people can't handle it. They take it. They take it and squander it um, through drugs, overdosing. Um, they go through this thing called life, and when you don't make the right choices, sometimes you have to choose to go in the military. But there are true consequences for doing this. Um, Now, you're giving your soul and life. When you come out of this soul and life giving mode, there has to be something there to help you, because that mindset doesn't just shut down or shut off because you're no longer wearing the uniform. And to be honest with you, I don't think that the VA has done the best job they could have done to make sure that every soldier that comes through there saying I have a problem is addressed 110%. So many are turned away because their system kind of basically says if you don't state it a certain way as to what's wrong with you, then you're denied. But if you state it in the right way, then we'll accept you and help you. That's ludicrous. Everyone is not going to communicate the same way. So if you're trying to kind of manipulate how we need to come in there and ask for help, that's exactly what you're doing. Pushing some people in because you understand the system, pushing others away because they don't. Um, Yet these are the same people you wanted to go into Iran ground forces and go in here and just walk in and take the place. None of these soldiers are going to have to just walk in and take the place. Those Iranians that are left are going to fight them to the death. And that's what's going to happen. There is no kind of pause. Let's just change our thoughts on doing this. Once they have to go in, it is all in. And the last man standing is how these wars work. If you don't surrender. Now, these guys that make it through this come back with a lot of visual memories, a lot of physical contact memories, a lot of hurt, a lot of pain. And they have to be dealt with once they come back. It's nothing that goes away. And the VA is on the back end of trying to fix these things. They're not ahead of the game in technology wise and knowledge wise to fix these things. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And that's where I'm like, show me the way. Show me the way. Show someone the way to try to figure out how to fix this problem. Because this is not the last time we're going to hear about a prior military member taking someone's life. It's not the last time. If we don't come up with better ways to treating these soldiers, especially if they came in for suicide on February, trying to commit suicide on February, forget it. We have you now in our grasp for the next 12 months or longer. Because the process to help you is going to take longer than 2 months. ZZ109FM, hottest radio station on the planet. It's a blessing to be here in 2026. It's a blessing to be alive. And you do what you have to do to maintain, to be alive in 2026. Because there's a lot of variables out here today that can end your quest. You guys take care from Reverend No Show, Ms. Jenkins, myself, and 10th grade education, Bob. Peace.